What up, what up, what up, what up? Hey, what's up? It's your boy Cali Code, iHeartRadio DJ, afternoon host on Love 101.1, Savannah's R&B, and the best old school. Midday host on Brunswick's Hallelujah 963, and afternoon host on 103Q, Southeast Georgia's hit station. I'm continuing my What You're Streaming. I know on the weekend, I told everybody, hey, you need to watch this movie, One Night in Miami. And I got a chance to reflect on it again. And it was so important to me, I wanted to do a whole character breakdown on each character and how they affected me, and just seeing myself in each of these men, in Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X. And so I wanted to extend my What You're Streaming. I already do that on my show every week, and it's a part of my online blog, but I just extended it. I'm going to start doing movie reviews on it, and One Night in Miami just kind of just catapulted me into that. So once again, I want to give a major shout out to Kent Powers, who actually wrote the stage play in 2013, and then Regina King for bringing it to life. Much love to Regina King and what she did. I mean, this is definitely amazing. In One Night in Miami, as you know, it's about four brothers, four black men historical figures who are major to American history and of course, to African American history. Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X. Them getting together one night after a fight where Muhammad Ali becomes the world champion, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And it's very, very much a crossroads piece for much of those men. Now, for the movie, of course, it's fiction as part of the conversation, the extent of the conversation in the room. And it's fact that they were all together this night, and it's fact that they were friends. What's going on, Kev? What's going on, Kev? I know you seen it. I know you rocking with it. Yeah, it was fine. Well, matter of fact, I gotta talk to Kev about it. I ain't even get a chance to talk to Kev about the movie. But so it's kind of like a factional movie. But I did read some more and get some more sources as far as their friendship, and Jim Brown even coming out as far as saying, you know, they talked about a lot of political things and who they were and aware of what was going on in that room. So major shout out to Kent Powers once again for bringing it to light. So I just want to do a breakdown of Muhammad Ali, his character, because I see so much of all of those men in myself, and in each, I think as black men, we all can see ourselves. So I just wanted to do my own observation, an overview, an overstand of what was happening in the movie. So in Muhammad Ali's character, I know a lot about Muhammad Ali, definitely a fan. I love boxing, but a lot of what I got to see on film of who he is, I kind of have to compare it to Will Smith's character. So we can't, Will Smith is so great, it's like you can't even judge this character without looking at Will Smith's version of Ali. Just like you can't look at the version of Ali, of Malcolm X presented in this movie without looking at the version that Denzel did, because it was so great. So I'm going to start with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is 22 years old in the film. He had just beaten Sonny Liston, which is like one of his historical, pretty much boxing matches. There was a lot of racial tension around it, a lot of race baiting and using of black men versus another black men in this type of arena when it comes to thinking and the type of person we are and how we think and operate in society. And that Sonny Liston Muhammad Ali match is loaded in itself. I don't even have time to go through that, but there's a lot of documentaries on that, and including one on Sonny Liston that I didn't get a chance to watch. And some stuff on Sonny Liston I haven't gotten a chance to read, but I will be reading. So this Muhammad Ali, played by Eli Gorey, the brother did a great job. I've seen him in some some other stuff on TV, but this version of Ali that he presented was just, it was so vulnerable. And I think in Ali's movie, the one that Will Smith did, he was vulnerable at times, but he was in a different place. He was older, he was more mature, he was trying to win the title back in this other Ali film that we would compare it back to. In this movie, One Night in Miami, we see Ali at a place where he's just become a star. He's becoming a superstar. He just won the heavyweight title of the world. And, you know, the world is basically his playground at 22 years old. And they open the movie up with him fighting. And even in the match, you see him playing around and doing immature things. And so it's kind of funny to see Ali. The thing that we love about him was his cockiness. So he was the type of person to say, hey, I'm going to knock you out in the 8th round, and say it so entertainingly, and then go out and actually do it. But also get to see there was some immaturity and arrogance that he had to work out as him becoming a male and a grown man, not becoming a male, becoming a grown man. And at the age of 22, it was also good to see this film depicted him accurately, because I could think about myself being 22 years old and the things that I did and how I acted. I was still very much immature and cocky about things, about my gifts and certain things. And there's a way that he transforms as he gets older into becoming this person who understands who he is, and he's not just like a big mouth person that people who didn't like him would perceive him to be. He's actually a man of depth, and he's actually an honorable man. And so I got that even at him being 22 at this moment, that he has a life-changing moment. I couldn't imagine being 22, becoming a heavyweight champion of the world and having the world at my fingertips, and then I all of a sudden want to become a Muslim, and I want to devote my life to God when the world is offering me everything. So it's one of those parallels into, like, you know, how you could gain the world and lose your soul. He was at a position where he was getting ready to gain the world, and he's thinking about his soul. At 22 years old, that's very, very powerful to let you know what kind of man Muhammad Ali was. And so seeing that he was young and immature, but he was wise enough and old enough to know, hey, I need some people to follow. I need some people to pattern my life after. So in real life, not just this movie, but in real life, you know, his friendships and the accounts of the friendships that he had with these three men, it was a mentorship thing going on. And he had each of these three men in who he was, and I believe it helped carry him on even after their deaths. So I start with Sam Cooke. The business savvy and the showmanship, Ali had that Sam Cooke had, and Sam Cooke had that. They connected on that level. Even the album that they did together, even the mentorship that Sam Cooke had taken on with Muhammad Ali, and seeing he was special, he helped mold that in him and kind of made it even more positive to be this person with all this charisma and showmanship and know how to get money. And I believe Muhammad Ali benefited from that and seeing that from Sam Cooke. And so they related in that level into where it was a little brother relationship, but he was showing Muhammad Ali almost how to be a professional and be young, black, and fly, because Sam Cooke had been that for so long. Then him being compared to Jim Brown, him and Jim Brown also being two brothers who are from the South. Jim Brown was strong. He represented strength. He didn't take any he didn't take any mess, and he wasn't a joke. You see that same in Muhammad Ali. Even by him saying whatever he wanted to out of his mouth, Jim Brown was that same person, but he had a respect for Jim Brown and who he was. So he could look up to Jim Brown just in his figure of him being a strong black man and being somebody that nobody wanted to play with, and being cocky at that time, because this is the 60s. And I wasn't alive during the 60s, but from what I've read, what I know, and even talking to family members, that was definitely looked at as a negative thing, to be a boisterous black man and being an intimidating black man. All those things he related to Jim Brown with, and being a gladiator. They talked about being gladiators, and just, hey, how we're performing for some people and almost doing this brutal, violent act just so people who don't really even like us can cheer us on and call us champion or whatever, but they don't think we're humans. So the fact that they even discuss the Gladiator parallel with black people in America in sports, and even when you talk about entertainment, just dealing with the fact that at one point we were only considered work or actual what should I say? I don't want to say product. I want to say, being owned in slavery. You were just an object in America, and you see a lot of that in the film when we talk about sports characters. Because even today, now we're like, hey, some people condemn football players and basketball players for what they're doing, but they're making their money and they're making a living and they have influence, but they have to balance just being somebody who's entertainment and actually being a man and standing for something. So him and Jim Brown are related to each other in that area. Then in Malcolm X, with Malcolm X, I thought that was very, very important to see that opening prayer scene. First of all, to know that Ali, I pray before I do a lot of stuff. First of all, to know that Ali at 22 was praying before he was going into matches. That's something. And even the way that the scene was done and how the prayer was presented, I'm very much, I don't know if I could call myself a Christian, because I don't just subscribe to certain things that they do in the religion, but I'm very much a man of the word, and I identify with the Hebrew lineage of God and who he is, and believe in the concepts and the constructs of living my life like that, and being a person of submission unto God, and not just living all type of ways, but that opening scene where Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali are in the hotel room before they actually go into prayer. Something very powerful about it. Something I felt the same way when I first watched it. The second time I watched it, I felt the same way about it. It was almost like a heaviness on my chest, and like it was something going on that I identified with, even though I didn't know what they were saying, because I don't know the prayers of the Islamic faith, but I resonated with it, and I really, really saw myself in that moment. If you see, there's a point where Ali's praying and they're turning their head, and Malcolm X fixes his hands even to get him right. He was literally grooming him, as a black man, and taking him to another place and understanding spirituality and how to present yourself to God and how do you do all these things. And to see somebody as boisterous or somebody as big as a figure as Muhammad Ali and see him that humble and that broken down, that was something else. That was really, really powerful. So that Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali relationship just represents so much. To go dig further into it, when you talk about those two figures, sacrifices hand in hand, where you have Malcolm X, who ultimately sacrificed his life for the movement. It's crazy to see right before he left, he imparted something to Muhammad Ali. Now, Muhammad Ali is in a whole different position in the movie. He's the world's, opening up to him. And you could be likable if you want to, but you're choosing to go with this figure, Malcolm X, who's really like sacrificing himself for the whole movement. So to see that there was some sacrifice that came out of him even being with Malcolm X, the first thing he sacrificed was his name. That was a big deal. You become the heavyweight champion of the world, and then you change your name, and change your faith and how people look at you. People with money, white people who support and buy things from you, and it's negative, the place that you're going, but the place that you're going is actually helping you, but it's viewed as negative to this group of people who are actually increasing your well-being in your life. That's a hard place to be at, but I think as black men, we're always in that place. We're always in that place of, okay, I'm moving up, I'm doing this, people are being nice to me, they're accepting me, but how much of myself do I have to lose? How can I stop and continue to keep it real and keep myself in check? And Muhammad Ali did the ultimate thing and said, I'm going to take on the faith of Islam, you know, a Eastern religion that's been here from the beginning of time since my people started. Yeah, hey, that's right, bro. Any means necessary. And it's a trip because you would think, just in seeing that and how their dialogue and how it happened, you would think that Muhammad Ali will go on to be more destructive to his own self in his boxing career to get a point across of being a black man and being recognized as a man. But he didn't. He realized who he was, and he took all those pieces of each person. Sam Cooke. I don't know why somebody, you see how people do? People hit you up as soon as you don't lie. He took all those people, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Malcolm X, and embodied them and knew his calling and what his calling and who he was to the people. And the people need to see him as a champion. But even him as being a champion, he wanted to let the people know who he was spiritually. And he was so in tune at that moment with becoming the man he needed to be. And, you know, throughout the film, you see him drinking and stuff. You see little things that, you know, people might feel a certain way about. But the fact that he was had the whole world in his palm and he was looking at his other hand like, you know, I need to submit myself to God. It just amazed me. So I love how that film played out on each one of those relationships. I think it's a good perspective on Muhammad Ali's life and who he was at that moment. And I like their depiction. So I definitely love that character. Even how he looked, you know, Will Smith's character was on point, lean. You know, I'm into health and fitness and stuff. Eli Gorey looked real good. He looked real natural. He looked real good when you think about how boxers looked and how Ali looked in that era. He really, you could tell he really put a lot in. But the way he depicted that role was legendary. It was on point. So once again, this is my part one breakdown of Muhammad Ali in One Night in Miami. And if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Tomorrow I'm going to check in and I'm going to do a breakdown of Sam Cooke's character and who he was. And I got some more information about Sam Cooke and been doing some more research. But I always kind of knew certain things about Sam Cooke because he's pretty much my dad's favorite singer. So, yeah, it was cool to see him in that light. But we'll get to that tomorrow. But make sure you check out One Night in Miami. Once again, I want to give a major shout out to Kent Powers, Regina King, and Eli Gorey. And you can check this out and view this over and over and over. I'm going to put it up on my blog on Love 1011 and on the 103Q blog. And it's going to be on my YouTube page. So stay in lock with me. I'm going to let you know what's up. And I got more movie reviews. I'm just doing a 4-part movie review for this specific movie, One Night in Miami, because it has so many characters in each role. But I will be doing more movie reviews. And if you want to send me some movies to review or some stuff to talk about, even a book, let me know. Hit me up on Facebook right here. So yeah. Hey, Two Gun, it was a good film, bro. It was a great film, and like I said, it was so good. I have to do a breakdown on all of it. So y'all be blessed. If you can, share this video and make sure you check me out on the iHeartRadio app. I'm on the afternoons on Love 1011 in Savannah, and in the afternoons on 103Q during the week. And also Hallelujah 963 in the middays. If you download that free iHeartRadio app, all you have to do is get them stations and you can rock with my show daily. So, hey, y'all be blessed. Enjoy your day. And if you haven't seen the movie, check it out and stick around. I got more What You Streaming coming up this week. Y'all be cool.